Everybody Wants to Waste Your Time by Drew Godin. I think Nohawk could pretty much sing a song about this, considering that he likes to scroll 6 to 7 hours on TikTok. um, yeah, everyone that wants to waste your time. It's like how do I put this? It's very interesting. We have YouTube Shorts that you just like can like mindlessly scroll at this point. Absolute brain rot. We have TikTok that does it. We have even like Twitter is one of those where like it's like so much yeah, addicting. You just keep scrolling. Aside from that, we got really bad video games that just want to have your attention. A lot of those are live service, which is why they're free to play usually. It's just like a lot of those are really just like, yeah, a waste of time. Says the shiny hunter who likes to color different colored likes to catch different colored pixels. But anyways, let's get into it.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I walked into the room and I said, this cannot be happening right now.
What, his brain is fried? It pretty much is. But bro also has like a buttload of money, so he apparently is able to do that.
This is not the kind of thing that normally happens in this town. Is it this camera? I look at this one? Okay.
Why don't they just edit that part out?
Can you tell us your name? My name is John, and what is your connection to Crazy Legs? Who?
That's an interesting intro. That's an interesting way to make an intro.
Who? The serial killer? I don't know who that is.
You don't?
No.
Is this for TV?
Sort of. Sorry, we must have got the wrong guy.
Yeah, I think you did. I work at Hobby Lobby.
Whoops. Well, could you tell us about that?
Oh, sure. So Hobby Lobby is sort of a knick-knack store.
So they're just gonna interview him anyway?
It's a good place to work because we have Sundays off, and I'm not like religious or anything, but I just don't like.
Oh, I see. That intro is just like literally wasting your time. I see how it is. Bro didn't even get straight to the point. He's wasting our time in a video about wasting your time.
Working on Sundays.
No, it didn't hurt necessarily. I just wanted to go to a dermatologist to make sure it wasn't anything serious. But then I found out that if you bundle it with your home insurance, it's actually a little bit cheaper.
How long is this?
You know what's funny? I never understood the roadwork bond. People would quote it to me.
Is this the whole episode?
Do you guys want to hear about the time I got my tonsils out?
Oh my god, I'm done. This is so stupid.
The year 2005. My throat ravaged with strep.
Also, imagine being named Billy, being 78 and being called Billy. Some names shouldn't be given to people. Oh yeah, some names shouldn't certainly be given to people. There's certain famous names that should not be given to people. Aside from like I think Billy is still one of the more normal things in my opinion, but like there's names where I'm like, oh no, if she gets older, she will be associated with that person. Oh no, or he will be associated with that person. That's a bad idea.
Hey guy, does anyone else feel like everything is designed to waste your time now, or am I being too cynical? Netflix documentaries are multiple episodes when they could have just been one 45-minute movie. Video games are too big, YouTube videos are too long, and please, for the love of God, stop asking me for my phone number every time I buy something.
I like video essays. I do like video essays. Also, 30 minutes is pretty long, I think. Also, I really like video essays. I guess just like sit there, work something, and just listen to a video essay. I really like those. Video games being too big, I think that's one of my criticisms. It's just like too much. It's just too much at this point. Chill out, slow down, make smaller stuff.
from a store. I don't want to join your rewards program. I just want to give you money in exchange for a hat. Is that too much to ask? Sorry, I'll start with the Netflix thing. It seems like half of what I watch on Netflix is twice as long as it should be. They always make it just interesting enough to hold your attention, but it's still pretty clear they're trying to stretch it out as much as they can. And I know it's not just me who feels this way, because I'll look up reviews after I watch something and they almost all say the same thing. Watchable, but it drags on. Could have been tied up in one episode. Please, Netflix, stop trying to make a series when there simply isn't the content for a series. They made a documentary a couple years ago.
To this day, I have not done everything in the game. Skyrim is the best. I actually like the big map. Yeah, I mean, Skyrim is not, like, confusingly big. You don't feel like, holy shit, all this stuff, I need to do all this stuff. I think what like it's like meant with is like worlds where there's like nothing really to do, and you just have to like traverse a lot of ground, but like in the end it doesn't matter. I felt that with Breath of the Wild, where like there's a lot to walk, but there's not a whole lot to do.
About the Cecil Hotel, a place that has, I'll say it, an alarming number of deaths associated with it. It's the site of that extremely famous elevator video of Elisa Lam right before she was found dead. So there is plenty of mystery to uncover here, but by episode 2, they were just interviewing YouTubers. Not people connected with the story, just a bunch of random dudes who had Googled stuff about it before. They keep calling them web sleuths, which I guess is the most official way of saying that you just woke up one day and decided that you are a detective. Well, since no one else has been able to crack this case, I guess it's up to me. Generally, one of the big things that separates a professionally made documentary from just any average YouTube video is the access they have to the subject matter. Anyone can throw together a video where they summarize a Wikipedia page, but the most memorable and revealing documentaries are ones where we hear the perspective.
The video's wasting your time. And you waste hours, then click off! If we add mods, the game is in. If you add mods to Skyrim, you can get a completely different game at this point. The modding community for that game is insane.
Of the people involved. I watched one on Hulu recently called The Contestant, and not only is this an absolutely insane story, but you get to hear it from the point of view of the guy it happened to. You also get to hear from the villain of this story, who is such a monster, I can't believe he agreed to be a part of this. It's fascinating to see how proud he is of himself. Like, yeah, I tormented this guy and ruined his life, but you gotta admit, it made for a pretty cool show. But this is kind of the expectation when you turn on a documentary, that you're gonna hear the story from the people involved in the story. So when you put on an official Netflix docuseries on a streaming service that costs money to use, and most of it is just regular people offering their 2 cents on the same blurry video everyone else has watched, it kind of feels like a huge waste of time. It's so aggressively time-wasting that I can't help but feel like that was the goal.
I agree. Why am I listening? He's putting a gun to my head. I agree. Why am I listening to people that aren't involved with a situation in a documentary? It's like I'm watching a documentary about like dinosaurs and just seeing trees. Like, hear somebody talk about trees. It just wastes my time because I was looking for something else.
Like, all right, we have everything we need to tell this story. We have other guests who are staying at the hotel. We have the manager of the hotel at the time. We have the maintenance worker who discovered her body. And in between interviewing them, we're also going to hear from someone whose only credential is having internet access.
I am a co-founder of the Elisa Lam discussion group on Facebook.
No, he wasn't there when it happened, but he has listened to a lot of podcasts about this, so we should probably hear him out. More recently, they made a docuseries about Ashley Madison, a website whose mere existence is fascinating, let alone all the fallout from their massive data leak that exposed a bunch of celebrities and politicians. There is absolutely a story where—
Yeah, this was a website about cheaters. This was a website you could use to find somebody to cheat with. Very interesting.
Worth telling here, and some of it was very interesting. But again, pointless interviews, backstory that's unnecessarily detailed. There's such a clear amount of filler put into these documentaries. It felt like half the runtime of the last 2 episodes was just trying to make us feel bad for this YouTube vlogging couple, which, I'm sorry, was never going to happen. In fact, I would say the best thing to come out of this was that it forced them to take a short break from exploiting their children's medical issues for AdSense revenue because they were too busy making
I still hate family influencers. I still hate these motherfuckers.
17 videos about how they were going to be on Netflix. Now, I would guess, like with a lot of their scripted content, the shadowy Netflix overlords are more responsible for a lot of these decisions than the talented people who work on these. I don't think almost every single documentary is 3 60-minute episodes because that's always how much story there is to tell. I think that's the mandated runtime that their bosses give to them. So even when they end up with footage that doesn't add anything to the show, they kind of just have to leave it in anyway to pad the length. There's a
On that note, filler in anime or other shows. Fuck them filler. I don't want to watch filler. Just continue the story. Wait until you can continue the story. I don't want any filler. I don't want to watch filler. Most filler is absolutely atrocious. Stop this.
Series I did a couple years ago with Kristen Bell called The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window. As you could probably guess from the title, this was a parody of like Lifetime murder mysteries, and it was a pretty funny show. I enjoyed it. But the whole time I was watching this, I just kept thinking, this should have been a movie. Why is this 8 episodes? Is it because they knew it would take me 4 days to finish instead of getting through it all in one night, therefore extending my subscription just long enough for them to make a little bit more money for me? You know, now that I hear that out loud, I'm pretty sure it's that. At this point, I just assume most of Netflix's decisions are made by an algorithm that prioritizes keeping people subscribed as long as
There should be laws on the parents that put kids on videos, especially if they get paid. Yeah. I think generally, YouTube should say no children should make videos in general, or like at least like gatekeep it until like 16 or something. But that's just my opinion.
as possible and has figured out the best way to mathematically do that, even if it lessens the overall user experience. I think overall Netflix is trying to do too many things at once. They want to make good shows, but they also want to make a lot of shows, and they want the shows to be longer than they need to be, but not in a way that...
The problem is Netflix doesn't either of them. They don't make good shows, and they don't make them long. Because if they made good shows, they would have longer shows. Because people would watch them. Welcome back, Cat. It's just like... You can't have both. Either you make good shows... Well, you can have both, actually. You make good shows, and therefore you can make longer shows. They are successful, so you can make more. But if you try to do both, you're kind of like fucking up. Because I don't remember the last good Netflix show.
It would cost more money. And they need to move the plot along so no one gets bored, but not too quickly. Otherwise, the people who are looking down at their phones the entire time might get confused.
She'd heard from so many showrunners who are given notes by the streaming channels that they say, this isn't second screen enough. The viewer is expected to be on their phone, kind of half doing something else while your crime drama or whatever is playing. And you just can't make it as complicated as you have because they're not going to understand it because they're only going to be half concentrating on your show.
You know, when you hear stuff like that, it's actually not that surprising how often shows like Avatar would repeat the same information they just told you a few minutes ago. You're not supposed to pay attention when you watch Netflix. You're just supposed to put it on in the background so you have something to listen to.
You two are bad. But this is horrible.
While you make dinner. But like, if you're designing your content so that it's best consumed while half paying attention to it, why would I waste my time devoting all of my attention to it?
On the topic of things that are getting too long, what's going on with YouTube videos? Does anyone know? I'm old enough to remember when the 10-minute mark was something videos got stretched out to. Now it feels like half the videos I get recommended to me are 7-hour retrospectives on, like, the penguins of Madagascar. And I'm kind of conflicted on how I feel about this. Because on one hand, some of the best videos I've seen on this website are well past the hour mark. There are multiple Defunctland episodes that have better storytelling and production value than any Netflix documentary I've seen. When H-Bomber Guy or Jenny Nicholson release a 4-hour video, I know it's not just because they're trying to inflate the watch time so it gets boosted by the algorithm, it's because they spent months working on it, and that's just how long the video ended up being. I'm a sucker for a comically in-depth review of a piece of media I've never thought about for more than 2 seconds. As long as the person making it is passionate about the subject and they put in the effort to make it entertaining, I'll watch just about anything. But I'm worried that some people are taking the wrong lessons from the success of some of these channels. They see that
The thing is, like, YouTube rewards long watch times, really long watch times. So that's why these people make unnecessarily long videos. Remember the days of like you said, the 10-minute mark, where people like had a black screen if they weren't able to fill the 10 minutes. They had like a black screen for like 30 seconds. Yeah. That happened.
Very long video about a niche subject has the potential to get a lot of views, so it's almost as if they go into their video with the goal of making it as long as possible, even if there's not really that much to talk about. The current YouTube meta is to turn your video into a podcast. It's to pad the absolute shit out of the runtime because that's what the algorithm likes. And to be clear, I don't really blame these people for doing this, especially smaller channels who are just trying to make their videos stand out before they drown in the bottomless ocean of content. But it's just frustrating from the audience perspective that the system is rewarding unedited yapping. If I just vomit out every word that remotely pertains to the topic at hand with no thought into brevity, no consideration of the viewer's time, it's actually more likely that YouTube will push my video out to those people whose time I'm not valuing. The algorithm is teaching me that I shouldn't cut things out of my video if they feel superfluous or unnecessary or repetitive or like I'm just saying the same thing over and over again but in slightly different ways. They'd prefer if I stretched out every video as long as I could, but if that's all I'm doing, what message am I sending to the audience I'm trying to cultivate? That their time is just something for me to leverage so I can get more views? That's a little shitty. But the worst thing...
The thing is, like, the same with, like, the same is, like, with when you look at, like, what's the word? You can't translate that. I forgot the thought. Let me rewind that. I forgot the thought that I had.
They'd prefer if I stretched out every video as long as I could, but if that's all I'm doing, what message am I sending to the audience I'm trying to cultivate? That their time is just something for me to leverage so I can get more views? That's a little shitty. But the worst thing is...
It's shitty, but you have to also consider this. That's how the algorithm has, like, made it. This is not, like... This isn't, like, how do I put this? This isn't like I'm losing my plot. This isn't like a content creator problem. This is a YouTube problem. YouTube is promoting this through their algorithm. So if you want content creators to change their strategy, you need YouTube to change the algorithm. Get struck by lightning. I'm just Deer has confused me with his Dragon Ball talk.
When they start doing an ad read at the beginning of a video that, quite frankly, I'm not even sure I'm interested in yet. You haven't even hooked me, and you're already trying to sell me a water bottle that smells bad? Brother, if I wanted to be advertised to, I would fly to New York City and spin around in Times Square. I didn't click on this video to learn about the deodorant that changed your life. I clicked on this video to hear a grown man rant about the Fairly Odd Parents for 3 hours. So in that way, this is kind of my fault. I don't know what I was expecting. Also... No. I'm sorry. You don't have to do this. I literally do. I signed a contract. This portion of the video is sponsored by SoFi, the ultimate finance app helping
He's
you bank,
wasting
borrow,
my
and
time!
One golden.
I refuse!
Video. Now, based on everything I just described, you might be thinking, okay, so you want every video to be as concise as possible. You mean like Mr. Beast? No. That's not what I'm saying. That is on the entire other end of the spectrum. There are videos that go on so long that large portions of them become nothing more than background noise. And then there's the most hyperactive, fever dream editing, nonstop.
Yeah, that's the other side, right? The Mr. Beast videos, for example, where it's so hyper and so like ADHD editing that I can't sit through these videos. It is pain. I agree with Jacksepticeye. These videos, you can't sit through them. I can't. And also, like, that it's mostly now about, like, videos are mostly about money now, but thanks to Mr. Beast, but that's a whole nother can of worms that I'm not gonna open. But yeah, it is way too much. You know what? I would love to see, like, these kinds of videos and like, how do you make these things? What is like the preparation for this look like? The planning, whatever. I would love to see that.
Cacophony of colors and sounds meant to overstimulate the 8-year-old boys watching on their iPad, and then there's a lot of space in between. But I guess because of all that space, it's weird to me how many videos end up on either extreme. It'll either be like, I just dropped my friend in an elevator for 72 hours without any food or water, but none of that even mattered because they ran out of air and suffocated before they even got hungry. Or it'll be like, but before I can talk about season 2 of How I Met Your Mother, we need to go back to the beginning. The first camera was invented in 18... I'm just asking that we meet...
True. I hate when, like, somebody, like, makes, like, a continued series of something, and then they always need to explain what happened right before that. Like, bro, when I'm interested in this stuff, I know what happened in the last episode. You don't need to recap anything, bro. Stop it.
Somewhere in the middle, that's all. Also, to be clear, Mr. Beast and all of the channels copying him have never made their videos that way because they value people's time. They're just trying to keep their retention rate as high as possible. It's just a different metric they're prioritizing. If Jimmy cared about his audience at all, he wouldn't sign off on doing this unbelievably deceptive bullshit where during mid-roll ads, they put this progress bar on the bottom that starts off really fucking fast. It makes it seem like, oh, this will be done in a few seconds. I don't need to skip this. And then once people have done the math in their head and decided they're just going to see it through to the end, the progress bar...
I didn't even know that. That's a new one. I didn't even know that. That's kind of scummy. I have to admit, that is kind of scummy. Okay, never mind. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Mysteriously slows down. Like, a lot. And suddenly that last 20% is starting to feel like an eternity. I thought we were almost done, and now I'm not even sure we're halfway through. This shit really pisses me off, because this is a very deliberate choice.
Anyway, stop the video, and what's your sponsor? I don't have a sponsor. The fuck you mean? I'm at 970 subscribers. The fuck do you mean I have a I should have a sponsor? I am my sponsor.
This is not an accident. You have to go out of your way to keyframe it like this with the intention of deceiving your viewer. It's such an openly manipulative thing to do to your audience and is very telling of the way you view them. That you're willing to lie to their face if it means a number on an analytics screen might get a little bit bigger. To you, they're not real people, they're just data points that can be orchestrated in whatever
790. I misspoke. 790. But that 970, I will have that soon enough. Don't worry about that.
direction you want them to. And that sucks. And if you agree with me, please sign up for my Patreon. Right now, I'm trying to buy a bunch of Teslas so I can see how many you can stack on top of each other before they explode. I have a lot of respect for creators that make algorithmically counterintuitive decisions because they don't want to waste their viewers' time. I think Internet Shaquille...
It's also like, when we look at Mr. Beast, have you looked at, like, the, whole Lunchley situation to the point that its stuff actually is moldy? I'm not kidding, that shit is moldy. Nah, I'm not reading that.
is hands down the best cooking channel on YouTube. He's knowledgeable, he's funny, and he always just gets right to the point. There's a promise of information in the title, and he doesn't try to withhold it from you just because he could theoretically put more mid-rolls in by meandering for a bit. For a long time, Tom Scott was kind of the science version of this. Nerd Writer is like the film version of this. In a world where most video essays end up being somehow longer than the piece of media they're about, Nerd Writer's still barely hitting that 7-minute mark. It's just, here's this thing I noticed in a movie, here's some insight about it, and that's all I got for you, brother. But I think it's also worth noting that these channels are successful. They're not doing the thing you're supposed to be doing, but it works for them. And I just want to use that as...
Once you get big, if you forget us, we will come to your house. You can come to my house any day.
as a testament to making things the way you want to make them, or making the type of video you wish there was more of. Sometimes going against the grain actually is the best way to make yourself stand out. Like, don't just throw together a bunch of crappy videos about whatever drama is trending. Make a retrospective about some niche hobby you had as a kid. This shit is way more interesting. Remember, this website is called YouTube, not do the thing that you think will become popular to.
But that's what it is. Just look. You brought it up, Mr. Beast. Just look at Mr. Beast. He does what works. He does perfectly what works. I can see this man sitting there all day analyzing what works. Very... You can bring him up again. I'm not reading it again. I'm not reading it, cat. This is wasting my time. Give address, I want to come. No, you don't. Raven can. I don't trust you. And bank account? No, no bank account. No bank account.
That would be a really stupid URL.
Now, I'll admit it's not totally fair to get mad at other people for wasting my time when really no one wastes more of it than I do. There was a day last week where the screen time on my phone was 106 hours. And I slept in that day. There's so many things I want to do in my life before I'm gone, so many people I want to spend time with, so many places I want to go, but I can't stop scrolling. I don't want to, but it's as if it's been scientifically engineered to be the easiest thing to do.
Adam and Eve were caught on camera. Can you guess who?
What the fuck? That was so out of the blue. Insane.
Who's holding the camera? Keep scrolling if you choose the devil.
There's this weird feeling I get whenever I go on TikTok or Instagram Reels or Threads, just kidding, where I'm simultaneously aware of what it's doing to my brain, but I do nothing to try and intervene. I just sit there and let it destroy me because I have to see that next video. What if it's so funny, but I exit out of the app before I ever get a chance to watch it? I'd cry.
That's what I've been asking myself. Is she on drugs? Or they? Or whatever. I'm actually asking. Whatever you taking, I wanted to. Jesus, was the cameraman. Oh my god.
Cry. No. I'd kill myself. And it's almost as if that feeling is intentional. They've made it so the distance between you and a chance at dopamine is just one small swipe away. I'd almost say it's malicious, but I know that's not true. Because a billion-dollar company would never do that. Billionaires care about your well-being. That's how they made so much money in the first place. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, they would never intentionally show us things to make us upset because studies show that people spend more time on a platform if they're seeing something that makes them angry.
Yeah, it's also TikTok China and TikTok International are completely different websites. Like completely different. I would love to have the Chinese TikTok. And I just copied and pasted song lyrics. What are you doing, man? They're completely different platforms. The Chinese TikTok actually promotes knowledge and like actually good content. The international one, I don't know. the first thing you see is naked women. Just type in on TikTok, search Spider-Man. The first thing you will get is women in tight tight Spider-Man costumes. I thought you were summoning demons.
They wouldn't do that. Because that's not nice. This is what most of my timeline is whenever I scroll through Twitter. It's the most blatantly obvious engagement bait that has weaseled its way into being prioritized because it's successfully baited engagement. It's arguments about body counts and whether Nickelodeon shows were good or not. And it works on me. It has the intended effect when I see it. I was scrolling one day and I saw someone say, iCarly, Victorious, Zoe 101. And at first I had to squint for a few seconds because I wasn't sure what they meant by this. And then I realized they were saying the first two are good, LeBron James, and the third is sort of an...
I want the Chinese TikTok, bro. The Chinese TikTok. Because that shit is gas.
imposter that doesn't belong. And I, in my head, got defensive. I was like, what are you talking about? Zoe 101 was good. It was certainly better than Victoria.
My Twitter timeline is just VTuber drama. Or people not being able to differentiate between reality and fiction. That's my Twitter timeline. And it works. Because I'm infuriated when I see these retards running around. And it doesn't matter. Small creator or big creator, they're all retards.
How does this have so many likes? What's wrong with Zoe 101? And then I exited out of Twitter and sat in silence for a few seconds as I pondered what just happened. How I got upset that someone I don't know said a show from 20 years ago that I kind of liked isn't as good as a different show that I barely watch? Why is this how I'm spending my time? In this moment, I could have been doing anything else, and yet I chose to introduce this argument into my head? That can't be good long term, right? Like we can all agree that's probably not great for my brain. If you're like me and you've been struggling with the endless scroll, I do have a recommendation. I found this by accident while I was doing a video a couple years ago.
Bro, you're a YouTuber. You have no brain. I can confirm. We don't have thought. What is that? You don't have brains.
About dopamine fast. It's called Screen Zen and it's free. I have it set up so it only gives me a few minutes at a time on each of the most poisonous apps that I hate but am addicted to. So you can still pop in for a sec and get the feeling of being up to date. But then it'll grab you by the shoulders and yank you out before you get too sucked into the void. You still get a little bit sucked, but not all the way. But of course I saved the most important issue for last. Video games are too big now. And I'm tired of pretending like they're not. When I was a kid, the idea of an open world game blew my mind. Up until a certain point, everything was very linear, very insulated. You load into an area, you do what you have to do there, and then you move on to the next place. But this idea that you could go anywhere, in any order, what could be more immersive than a world?
I want more linear games. Please. Please, I want more linear games. I can't take this anymore. I can't see the 300th open world game. Leave me alone. Give me a linear game with invisible vault walls. I don't care. No more.
World that you could essentially live in, and boy did I want to live in any other world than the one in which I played clarinet and got bullied by someone who also played clarinet. You're not better than me. We're the same. To me, open world games felt like the culmination of every technological milestone. It felt
Oh look, Oblivion. I like that one.
Like the future of gaming, and then over time it became the standard. It became what every game had to be, and then all of a sudden it seemed like the goal shifted from making the best game to making the biggest game. I guess because it's easier to market something based on scale than to just come out and say, hey, the story's really good in this one, trust me. I started to get overwhelmed by games because of the seemingly endless list of tasks I needed to complete, the chores that I needed to do. And to be clear, I'm not talking about games like Crime Scene Cleaner. That's a great game, okay? I don't mind chores with...
Or Power Wash Simulator. That's also a great game. Why did he put Skyrim in there? He better not talk shit. Oh, she's getting defensive about Skyrim. Uh-oh. I know how the Skyrim 6 forest looks like. I don't care about Skyrim. I don't care about Elder Scrolls 6. I seriously don't care. I'll be completely honest.
When the game is chores. I'll play Power Wash Simulator all day. I played unpacking shortly after moving into this house, and I hadn't finished unpacking in real life yet. My wife was not happy about that. What I'm specifically referring to is when games feel artificially padded with repetitive side quests. When there's like 7 different activities to do, but you just end up doing each of them 100 times. And as someone who goes into games with a completionist mindset, this is the quickest way to make me give up. Because I'll try to...
Yeah. When I start playing games, I want to 100% them. I want to do everything in that game. Every little bit. You can't stop me. I need to do this.
Collect every item and go into every corner for like 20% of the story until one day I just stop opening the game altogether, relieved by the massive weight now off my shoulders. I think this is a big reason why Elden Ring had such a big impact on me and so many other people. Yes, you're in this staggeringly large open world littered with places to go and things to kill, but it's not in the form of just a bunch of exclamation points on your minimap. Almost everything you do in this game is motivated by, oh, that looks cool, I want to go over there. It's a feeling you should have while playing an open world game. It's that sense of wonder that has mostly been lost.
Yeah, just the problem is that, oh, that looks cool, I want to go there, ends in, oh, I'm gonna get my ass beat. That's cool. I just hope they don't fuck it up, but it looks good for now. They're gonna fuck it up. They're gonna nuke it with they're gonna nuke it with what is it? Microtransactions. You're gonna see.
By all these cookie cutter taskathons. Also, the more bloated a game is with content, the more narrative dissonance there ends up being. Which of course only matters as much as you let it, but it's still really funny sometimes when the main questline of a game is trying to instill this sense of urgency, but at any given moment you can just go fuck around for 15 straight hours. We've only got until midnight tonight to rescue my uncle, or they're gonna execute him. Hey, do you think there's anything cool in this cave over here? A compromise that works great for my brain is a semi-open...
This is me and Xenoblade. Oh, this city is burning. Let me do side quests.
world, like the 2 most recent God of War games. I like when there's enough optional side exploration that it still scratches that itch for me, without it ever feeling like I'm missing out on this overwhelming amount of content by just wanting to streamline the story for a bit. I think it's okay for a game to be modest in scope. Just because the technology exists to procedurally generate 1,000 different planets doesn't mean we have to do that. Sometimes I wonder if the technical limitations from previous generations
Raven, don't lose it again. Don't lose it again.
actually made games better. I mean, it certainly made them more contained. It made them more approachable. I love going back and playing older games that only take a few hours to finish. I want to be able to complete things. I want to have a full experience in a reasonable amount of time. I'm tired of not getting any closure from games because they make it so tedious and long-winded to get to that point. And that's assuming the game even works when you first buy it, which chances are it won't. It's become so normalized for games to be unfinished and littered with bugs on release that it's actually surprising when a game...
Star Wars Outlaw, anybody? Star Wars Outlaw, anybody? That was a horrendous mess, and it's still a horrendous mess.
Comes out and works the way it's supposed to. A lot of even really good games aren't worth buying for like 2 full years. Cyberpunk, fantastic game in 2024. But I bought this on release and had to slog through so many bugs, retread so many areas because of crashes, all before encountering an immovable obstacle. I could not progress the story because every time I tried to initiate this cutscene, the other character would not say the next line he was supposed to, so they would both just sit there in silence indefinitely. I couldn't continue the game past this point.
So, a heart lock. You cannot continue the game. Oh, that's also, by the way, in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. If you don't do the day 1 patch, you can continue into the post game.
And I was like 10 hours into it. I had a similar game-breaking experience with Dying Light 2, Metro Exodus, and I'm not even touching Starfield anytime soon. The bigger a game is supposed to be, the more I don't trust it to be a complete experience when it first comes out. It usually takes years to fill out all the missing pieces, so I'm not gonna waste my time or money on what I assume will be a significantly worse experience than if I were to just wait until it's on sale in 2027. But in a world of titles forced out prematurely by a deadline that was never realistic, nothing feels quite as...
Oh, we can on that note push again to Pokemon doing the same.
Egregious as the yearly full-priced sports game. You spend 11 months building up a player or a team or a general manager if you're a weirdo like me, and then as soon as the calendar...
I don't even know who buys these. Who is buying FIFA? Who is buying Madden? Who is buying 2K? Who is buying these EA games? Stop it. They're the same bullshit over and over again. Stop it. I realize Raven is very short-tempered. I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
Flips over, you gotta start from scratch. All right, everyone, time for the new game. Yes, it's $100 again, but we've made so many improvements.
Who the fuck is buying this? Who is buying this $100? Who is buying this for $150? What the fuck are you doing? Get some real life problems. Holy shit.
The number on the box is different. And where's your credit card? NBA 2K has one of the most aggressive microtransaction systems I've ever seen in a video game. But they're not just dedicated to milking every single dollar out of your bank account. They've also made it their personal mission to waste as much of your time as humanly possible. A few years ago, they added something revolutionary. They turned the park into the city. Now, functionally, at its core, the city is just a menu. Every physical location that you have to trek to could have just been text on a screen and it would have been way more efficient to navigate. But that wouldn't be innovative. Innovation...
I'm gonna keep it very simple. Can we do what we did to Ubisoft also to EA? Honestly, I like the Supermarket Simulator, simple and easy. Yeah. I like simple and easy also. But yeah, can we do that as well to EA? I think it's about time. I think it's about time EA gets the same treatment.
Is when you have to jog a mile just to have Gatorade before your next game. Innovation is when you create something tedious so you can sell the solution to it. Man, aren't you guys tired of having to navigate this big stupid city we made? Then buy a bike. It's $10, fuck you. Imagine if every time you turned on your computer, you had to make a...
They're selling the bike through premium currency? Okay. Anyways.
Little guy run across town just to go to the Gmail store. Oh shit, forgot my password. Gonna have to sprint over to City Hall. I feel like every single element of this game is designed with the goal of wasting your time. Whether it's getting interrupted in the main menu to show you 2 separate ads, or a halftime show you cannot skip even if you press X the whole time. Don't get me wrong, this halftime show is great. They've got Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, my 3 favorite guys. They show highlights and relevant stats. They make jokes. By sports game standards, this halftime show is fantastic. But there are 1 million games in every basketball season, and I don't want to watch 1 million halftime shows. I'm just trying to speed run to the playoffs so I can take a virtual trophy home to my real-life Orlando Magic. Is that too much to ask? 58 seconds.
That's an entire minute. That's an entire minute of wasting my time. If I buy a game, I want everything in the game to be free. Yeah, no microtransactions. I play gacha games, so that is over. What the fuck? Finally use the correct one. No, that makes it unique. Stop it! That makes it unique.
By the way. But whatever, those are just minor inconveniences. The really egregious wastes of time are in the My Career mode. Now the thing is, when you start his career, this guy fucking sucks at basketball, which is a problem because that's the thing he's trying to do. He's slow as hell, he can't shoot to save his life, he has one shirt and it's brown. And in order to fix these things, you need to obtain virtual currency. Now, there's two ways you can do this. Option one, grind. Spend dozens of hours playing dozens of games, scraping together pennies so you can get 1% faster, 1% stronger, 1% better at handling ball. But it's never enough. This process is miserable. You're useless out there. You don't belong in the NBA. You would be better off in any other line of work. And this is exactly by design. This is how the game wants you to feel. They want you to hate this part because they know the more frustrating of an experience.
Which is like funny when you look at like the wrestling games and their like career mode and it's like super enjoyable. These didn't suck at all. What happened?
Experience you have, the more likely you are to just skip to option two, spend $40 more. Come on, just do it. You don't have time for this. Don't you want to get to the fun part? You'll start doing the math in your head and rationalize it as a no-brainer. Yeah, $40 is a lot of money, but it's not nearly as much money as I could earn in the 40 hours it's saving me. You feel like a genius. You feel like you outsmarted the system, and then you realize this is the system. I did the exact thing they wanted me to do. And it wouldn't even be that bad.
So bro played 40 hours for literally nothing? Bruh.
The game itself didn't already cost $70, but now you're out over $100, maybe $150 if you pre-ordered it. Also, the professional athlete you created doesn't play like he's never touched a basketball in his life before.
And I've got all the natural ability in the world thanks to my genetics.
And then you get to do it all again next year. This whole system of pay.
Like, okay, that got me. That got me. That got me. That got me. Okay, okay. That was good. That was a good joke.
Paying to skip a grind that has been intentionally designed to be insufferable has become way too common. Developers are purposely holding our time hostage, knowing we'll probably spend a few bucks to get some of it back. I feel like that's almost the entire business model of MMOs. It's one of the reasons
Because when nothing is the product, when nothing is like in exchange, if you don't pay for anything, guess who's the product? It's you! You are the product!
I stopped playing RuneScape after our lifelong on-off relationship. I kept having to fight the urge to spend a few bucks on gold because the alternative was earning it in the game, but then I'd have to play the game. And I don't want to do that. I just want to play the end of the game. How long does it take to get there? Oh.
Okay, what's the RS fact of the day? Average time to max is about 2,500 hours. The average college student spends 1,792 hours studying for a bachelor degree, 3.0 GPA. Oh. Oh. Okay.
Well, I guess this is where I live now.
In conclusion, life is short, and your time is precious. It's your most valuable resource, and you should treat it that way because, unfortunately, no amount of it is guaranteed. And I just hate seeing how much it's become commodified, how companies have figured out ways to steal as much of it as they can from us. You can't even pause a fucking movie anymore without having your attention demanded. I know you're just getting up to pee, but if you could please scan this QR code, we got a lot of interesting information about Lysol wipes. The way our attention gets pulled in every direction at all times also makes me feel like I should be multitasking always or I'll fall behind. I always feel like
I'm always multitasking. I'm always multitasking. I can't stop. I need to.
missing out on something. There's so many movies I want to watch and games I want to play, and there's not enough hours in the day to do it all. So when I do give myself free time, I try to be overly efficient with it. I can't just play a video game. I should be catching up on podcasts. Loading screen, perfect. That gives me exactly 9 seconds to scroll through TikTok. I'd hate to be bored. I'd hate to have to listen to the thoughts that are already in my brain. I need to be absorbing new information constantly or I'll die. I've been trying more and more lately to not let the feeling that there's something better I could be doing prevent me from enjoying the time that I have. Sometimes it's nice to go for a walk without bringing my AirPods. There's still plenty of stuff to listen to. Birds, cars, 1 billion cicadas making the world's loudest sound. I don't need to min-max content consumption. In fact, I probably shouldn't be doing that. I don't think prioritizing constant small hits of dopamine, hoping it all adds up to something meaningful, is the secret to being happy. The secret to being happy is gambling. Nobody's ever had a bad time in a casino.
I can't multitask, I get confused. I don't. I'm the guy who shiny hunts on multiple systems at the same time. I don't get confused. What is that?
This is free, so how do you make money?
The advertisers cover the cost of the TV. So
This.
this is an ad.
This is always on.
Whatever you're watching, we're able to monetize using the bottom device. Okay, so check.
What is that? I don't want to watch things and then see an ad on like... What? On the bottom? At the bottom? What the fuck is this? Yeah. Totally agree with the video. Everybody's trying to waste their time. And I think it's gonna get worse, actually. Because, like we see now at the end, they throw in ads while you watch stuff. So you basically have ads always in your face, and it's gonna just be more ads.